Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Make It podcast. Before we get started, we got to give a shout out to Factor for sponsoring this week's episode. Make this your best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. Just heat up and enjoy, and it gives you more time to do what you want, like get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat for any active lifestyle. With 45 menu options to choose from, you can pick from any of those options to meet your goals. You can choose from Calorie Smart, keto, protein, vegetarian, you name it. They've got a ton of choices. So it's easy to savor more this summer. Summer's right around the corner. You want to get fit? Factor can help you with that. They give you these Factor meals that arrive to your door fresh without any of the fuss. Here's what you need to do to get a very, very sweet deal on this. You need to go to factormeals.com/make-it50-off. Factormeals.com/make-it50-off. That's 50 off. Don't spell out 50. When you get there, use the code make-it50-off and you will get 50% off your order plus free shipping. So do that now. Factormeals.com/make-it50-off and use the code make-it50-off for 50% off plus free shipping. And now, on to the show. Papa Bear is going to say hello to you right now. And
Hello.
this chat will be, well, you'll say, okay, you're going to type hello to Dominic. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Make It podcast. I'm your host, Chris Barkley.
And I am your slightly darker complected host of the podcast, Nicholas Buggs. I know. See, we've got a guest here who hasn't gotten that familiarity with us and doesn't know about these nicknames, these so-called nicknames, Chris,
Yes.
that you say that people have for us. And we had a guest come on one time when we were talking about the fact that people called us the Chocolate Studs.
Yes.
And that guest was not so happy with the fact that your lightly complected self was willing to go along with such a moniker as the Chocolate Studs. But I think it still works, man. I think it still works.
Yeah, just because it's got a little milk chocolate in there doesn't mean it's not chocolate all the same.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's my litmus test. Here's the litmus test to know if you're black or not. How did the police treat you? It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. If you're dark enough for the police in certain places, not all
certain
police,
places,
certainly,
certain places, yeah,
to mess with you in a way that seems unfair, then you're black. Now, here's what I've found out: the older I've gotten and the more money that I've gotten, I've become less and less black. Now, that is a crazy thing to say. I know that, but here's the thing:
it's
cops let me go now.
Yeah,
I've not been messed with by a cop in 20 plus years.
It's because you're not driving in the same neighborhoods when you were blacker.
Yes.
Remember that?
When I was blacker back then. I was driving in blacker neighborhoods. You're right.
Exactly. So yeah.
Oh my God.
So yes, it's great to be here.
I'm whiter. I'm whiter than some white people, according to the cops.
Well, there you
that
go.
I meet.
So
things change. Helping us on this journey, this podcasting journey, per usual, is producer Papa Bear. Papa Bear, say hello.
Hello, I'm your vanilla stud.
Vanilla stud, there he is. I love it. And we're missing intern Sam today. Intern Sam, we were going to miss you on this thing, but I know you're holding us down from afar, and you'll be back soon. So all the young ladies and folks that only watch this podcast for him, don't worry. He didn't leave. He'll be back on the next thing. It's all good. With us today, as well as our esteemed guest, Dominic Hoffman. Dominic, say hello.
Hello. How are you?
Welcome.
It's nice to be here.
Well, it's really our pleasure. This hits a lot of levels for us because whether it be childhood, poetry, acting, writing, you really sort of run the gamut of creativity and artistry. And this podcast is known for not just bringing on one type of, sort of artist within a field, but we really touch on every type of artist or technician that works within film and beyond. And you sort of are the answer to all those things. So we're really pumped to have you on. if you don't mind just taking a minute to just share your official title with the audience and tell them what we might know you for, or what they might know you for rather, and what you're working on now, that'd be great.
Well, I do a lot of stuff because, you got to make a living. And
Mm-hmm.
the answer is no, a lot. So you have to farm out your talent. I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm a director, I'm a book narrator. Um, I started out as a writer, always
Mm-hmm.
a writer, and how I became an actor is a really funny story.
Let's hear it.
I was
I'd love to
I
hear
was
it.
writing scenes in college. I went to UC Santa Cruz. I was writing these scenes for these people to do, and I was directing them. And they said, "Well, hey man, I don't understand. Just show us what you mean." And so I showed them, and they went, "Maybe you should be doing some of this acting." So I went to acting school, and that's it. People know me from, of course, Julian. It's funny that people remember me from that. It's kind of a compliment because I only did 9 episodes in 2 years' time. And
Man, it doesn't feel like that. I'm gonna tell you that right now because I'm
and
one of those fans who's like, Julian. And he's
So
like,
yeah, that's because
just to be
I was
clear, let the audience know which show we're talking about.
different world.
Of course. There we go. Thank
And the
you.
reason people remember me, of course, is because I was, playing Jasmine Guy's boyfriend on the show when, you know, Different World was, extremely, extremely popular. And yeah, so, but I've done a ton of stage. I've done 50 plays. I've written 12. I've written for television. I wrote 3 episodes of A Different World. I've written a bunch of films that have been optioned, but nobody's done them. Uh, I've done about 200 books narrated. I've directed a bunch of shows. I teach. I teach at a place called Ruskin here. Anthony Hopkins taught there for 2 years. It's a really good school. And I come in. I'm a sub. They call me sometimes. I just come in and substitute or direct a small play there. And it's it's um, it's a life of changing your occupation, like that. Because I might be narrating this week, and week after that, I'm always auditioning. So you're just trying to stay relevant. That's how I look at it. I'm just trying to stay relevant, and it's a very difficult world because it's not really about talent. It's about all kinds of other things. But it's about luck. But when you're lucky, you got to be ready. And so I always just try to
That's
stay
right.
ready. I had a pretty good last 9 to 10. I did a play for David Mamet. It was 4 of us. Um, Chris Bauer, who you would know,
Mhm.
Evan Junikite, and Shia LaBeouf, just us 4. And we did,
Incredible.
I think, 42 performances, no advertisement, no reviews, sold out every night. We had all these crazy movies. I mean, they put chairs in another line of chairs, and I mean, I can almost touch an audience member. It was crazy. And then we did the movie, and this is the craziest thing because it was one of the most it was the most extraordinary um, cinematic experience I've ever had because we shot it in 5 days,
Wow.
wow.
the
Yeah.
entire film.
Wow.
Was it
Okay.
And
was
I
it
just got to
was
think
it a
today.
Warner? How did you shoot it in 5 days? Did you have like a ton of pre-pro on that where
Well, we
like
did
how did
42
was
performances.
what how did they shoot it?
How do you mean?
Like you said you shot the movie in 5 days.
Right.
How was it shot to accomplish that?
Well, we had a tremendous crew,
Okay.
great DP, great everybody. There was a guy. He's kind of a big guy,
Mhm.
and we wondered what he was doing there, and he wanted just to come in to work as a PA just for the experience. We had so
Yeah.
many people like that. I mean, you got Shia LaBeouf and David Mamet and Chris Bauer. I mean,
Right.
I'm but it was extraordinary. And I just got a thing right before you guys called that it's being released in May
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
and a website.
Nice.
So
Name of the
and it'll
film
be at the
is?
Arrow Theater here, which is an art theater in Santa Monica on Montana. It'll have a limited run there, but it's very exciting. I saw it, and
What's the name of it?
Henry Johnson.
Okay, that's what I thought. Henry Johnson. Got it. Look out for that May release. Got it.
And I just finished. Actually, they're going to have the third episode. I did 3 episodes of Suits LA or LA Suits, and the last one's this Sunday. Airs this Sunday.
Yep. Very beloved show.
And I
Suits in
just came back
general,
from
yeah.
New York doing I'm just giving you the whole thing if you don't mind. You know,
No,
Oh, yeah,
please.
man.
I love this. Yeah. Go for it.
And
That's why you're here.
so I narrate audiobooks, and I narrated a book called James,
Mhm.
which was top 10 in everything and won all these crazy awards. The audiobook awards, the audiophile book awards were they're the Academy Awards of audiobooks, and I won best fiction narrator. I was nominated for 3. I won 2, and I'm up for. There's a huge festival called the LA Book Festival. It's ginormous. The great authors come, and Percival Everett's going to be there, who wrote the book, and I'm nominated for the best narration of a fiction book there too. So
I
that's
think you're
that's
shooing
this
for the
month.
win because you won the Audie. So why not this one?
Hey, you know,
It's
you
kind of
know,
like
Is
winning
this
the
like
BAFTA.
the BAFTA?
Yeah.
Thank-
So
thank-
you win the BAFTA, you're gonna win the Oscar. I
Yeah.
mean, come on. Like
thank
this
God
is
for the rumor anyway, you know.
yeah,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
this is huge. So tell us about the book Late Rehearsals though. What's the inspiration
And I
behind that?
left
What is
out the
that book
thing, and I
about?
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I left out the major.
You're in good
thing.
hands
So
here, Dominic. You're in good hands with
thank you.
me.
Yep.
Yes.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate
Mhm.
y'all. So I have a book of short stories. It's a collection of 13 short stories. It's called Late Rehearsals. I'm very, very proud of it. It is a collection of short stories that are, I have to say, character driven, you know,
Mhm.
and various worlds. That's all I can tell you. I mean, it's men and women, it's love and life and death and humor. You know, the thing about humor, you know, you can talk about anything
Mhm.
if you make people laugh. I saw a solo show. This guy's talking about his life as a cancer patient. Hysterical,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also very profound. You know, the guys, you know, he knew how to. But that's the interesting thing that you learn. You learn that if you make people laugh, you pretty much can talk about anything. And
Yeah.
I make you laugh in the book. And I've given stories out to over 100 people because that's how I wanted to do the litmus test. You know,
Yeah,
if this
yeah.
is any good, you know, you give it to people that will be honest. You know, and I always try to
Your
give it to people
tribe, yeah.
that want me to fail. You know, because you know you got the people in there that yeah, I'd love to see your work, yeah, man.
Exactly.
And
See,
I have a
Nick?
story about
See, I'm not one of those dudes. Every time you ask me for feedback, I'm honest with you, man.
That's right.
So I
Yeah.
want you to win. Anyway,
That's right.
go
a
ahead.
good friend.
Go ahead,
That's a
Dominic.
good friend.
Sorry, I had to.
So
pause
anyway,
there
I mean,
to pat
so I
myself
get
on the ass.
and the response was the same from every single person. So I'm very happy, you know, because you know it's hard. I'm not somebody I've been writing my entire life,
Yeah.
but I'm not what you call a happy writer. Oh, I can't wait to write. Oh, let me get it. No, it's no. And you know, people always talk about inspiration. For me, it's perspiration. You know, you go there, you put the work in, you try to hide the effort, and you try to be truthful and tell a story that is worth telling and you know, entertaining. You know, you got to entertain people. You know, why not? I don't have any problem with that. You know, I don't want to read something where I want to cut my wrists afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yep.
John McWhorter said that he writes an angry book and then he writes a happy book. Basically for
Good
the
for
same
him.
basically for the same reason. It's like once he writes an angry book, he doesn't want to live in that space for too long. So he comes around and he'll write a happy book or a positive book to follow it. So I think I think that makes sense. And I think there's a lot of people who want to write, but they don't have a whole lot to say. And I think, you know, outside of missing sort of the habit of writing that I really need to develop more, what I enjoy in writing is bringing out and having sort of the cojones to say how I really feel. And I look for that in writing as well. So I'm really looking forward to reading your book and getting that sense of you just, hey, this is what it is. Here's how I feel. Let me lay it out there for the people to absorb.
Yeah,
because
Chris,
when I go ahead, Nick.
yeah, no. So you said how you feel, and
Yeah.
we normally don't do what other people do here, right? We try not to ask questions that everybody's going to ask.
Yeah.
But I do have a question. I'm going to frame it slightly differently that I know a lot of people ask, right, for writers. And the question is like, so when people read this, how much of this is autobiographical?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop before you answer, right? Because that's the question that everybody asks. And the answer usually is, well, as a writer, there's always a part of you in those stories.
That's right.
So I'm asking from the sense of really how much, like when we read these stories, right? How much of you is in it? Like, is that you in that story? Is that something you went through? Or is it just these ruminations, these ideas, these thoughts you've had over time, the dreams that you decided to put on paper, and it isn't really you, but it's just these fleeting things? I'm just curious. Is it you?
It's a question that everybody says, is that you read one of them, right? You read Story.
Indeed. I
So
did.
people always ask me, was that you? And I say, no, I didn't have COVID. I was never. No, the thing is, part of it is always. I don't care if you're writing Superman. Part of it's you.
Yeah.
If you're writing, Iron Man. If you're writing, Death on Elm Street or whatever, a part of that's you. But I'm really more interested in, and it's actually written in the preface. I'm really more interested in sort of like the faculties of life. How people live. We greet life every day with our own context. And what I try to do the most when I'm writing is not to have a context, not to have any kind of censorship. Whatever comes out, and then it has to be good, of course. You go back over it. Rewriting is everything to me. But of course, a lot of stuff. I mean, I might have something from this interchange with you guys, and might turn something on. I've written a story from a sentence I heard somebody say, So
I've done. Yeah.
is
I
it
know
me?
that
Yeah,
process a lot.
but
Yeah.
no.
Right. Well, here's the deal. So this is why this is me, selling because the work is great. But here's why someone might ask you if it's you, because you couldn't have written something that freaking good and that personal, and it's so good. That's what I'm saying. Like it feels like you had to have experienced it yourself. That's
To
how
have
good the
written it.
writing
Yeah.
is. That's what I'm saying. Like that to me, that's the sign of a good writer. It's like you had to have lived this. Like
What a compliment, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's very kind of you, and I heard this a few times, and people refuse to believe that it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
So you just have to let them have that, So okay, well, all right.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, now
but,
I'm really on pins and needles to read this. I got to get my hands on this
it's a good
text.
book, I'm very proud of it. It's not I'm so no. It's just like I lucked out, and I sort of got the parallels right, and I was generous to the page, and I've had an interesting life. We've all had interesting lives. It's what we do. It's how we reconcile.
I don't know if all
It's
of us
how
have interesting lives.
we do, whether we notice it or not. I've had people
Exactly.
told me
Yeah.
last week the things that you've done, Chris. And if you
I
stop,
live an interesting life.
you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm
I don't
saying?
know. I don't know.
No. That's Chris
I don't know.
talking about other people. That's what that is. He's like,
Yeah.
no, I live an interesting life, but y'all don't. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if everybody. No, I see what you're saying though, because John
Yeah.
McPhee, right? He wrote a whole book about one tennis game, and it was brilliant. One tennis match. And if you do notice the beauty in your own life, you could write an entire and completely compelling book about watching a gopher run from one side of your yard to the other. It just, what's in you, what language can you pull out to make it interesting and beautiful? And look, if I want to give a couple of shout outs to things you said. So one, people talking about incredibly personal things. I instantly thought of David Rakoff, the late David Rakoff, who would talk about his, whether it be homosexuality or cancer or illness on stage. Shout out to Andrew Schultz, who just did a stand-up called Life. It's brilliant. I think it's the best stand-up maybe since Killing Them Softly by Dave Chappelle. He made being infertile funny in the process of
What's his name?
Andrew Schulz. Andrew Schulz.
Yep.
Yeah.
SHULZ, correct?
I think so. You might miss a letter there, but
Yeah.
if you just
SCH.
type that in, you'll get there. I just want to give that a shout out.
Okay.
And I want to just tell the audience, I want to give a shout out to you because I want to tell the audience about something you said, which is this idea of I don't know if everybody realizes how hard it is to be honest in your art and to let those parts of yourself bleed through even a fictional story, even a story that you may not have necessarily told, but because you can't separate the art from the artist when it's really, really good, a part of you is in that. It bleeds into it. And I've just seen in myself many times, and I've seen it a lot of times where there's certain art and certain words you want to say, you want to write, you want to sing, whatever, but to do them would disrupt your family, would disrupt your friendships. I've lost a friend over something I've written, and it wasn't about him or her, but he thought it was, and I couldn't convince him otherwise. So, these things happen. You're sort of getting close to where you want to get when you start pissing people off with your art a little bit, or people are a little sort of knocked on their ass about it. Like, it's really difficult to do that because we don't like change. We like to protect people. We like to keep everything safe and secure. And art lives in a space that walks right up to the edge without falling off. And maybe sometimes we do fall off, but I just want to give you a shout out for writing honestly and what sounds like is a really powerful collection of essays, short stories.
No essays. Essays
short
are
stories.
Essays are.
That's the next
personal.
book.
No.
He's like, no,
I'm so sick of that stuff right now. I mean, in this political environment, it's very difficult for me to have anything to say that isn't already said, or for me, it's like people are so dumb now. It's a waste of breath. But sorry, but I just think that's the truth.
No,
I mean,
we have that sentiment.
I feel pretty aligned.
Yeah,
look where we are.
Yeah,
but I don't think I'm that brave, to tell you the truth.
Mm.
I think I'm that focused on trying to do quality work. Because,
Okay.
being an actor all these years and being a writer and always going up against these people, I lose jobs. People who couldn't carry my makeup kit. And it's not a pat on my back. It's just, they hire who they want and it has nothing to do with anything else. So the only thing that we are in charge of is the quality of our own work. And, you want to look at yourself in the mirror and say, that's the best I've done. And to what you were saying, Chris, to me, when somebody applies themselves and does all the sacrifice to write, to come up with certain stories, to me, it's nothing more than discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one other thought. I hope I'm not going on, but I had one other thought about: do you write autobiographically? And I thought to myself, no. What I do write is imagining I am Steph Curry in that character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not me, but I'm going to write you Steph Curry. You know what I mean? It's like we all have, I don't know if you guys, but I have fantasies all the time. Man, I'd like to go out and, I don't want to compete with Steph because he deserves it. And I'm going to get this for free, but I want a Martian ship to pick me up, take me up there. I come back and I am 20% better than Steph Curry, but I'm only playing street ball. You know what I mean? I've actually had that fantasy. You know what I mean? Yep. So, as far as creation goes, whether it's autonomous or whether it's, it's part of my life, it's autobiographical or it's biographical, to me, it's just what I can relate to, what moves me. So I was wrong about the context, because how we approach writing or any kind of art, you like certain art that he won't like because your context is, oh man, that moves me because of, it reminds me of this, or, you're a musician, man, you can hear one chord and go, oh my God, yeah. Yep. And it won't do anything for him or me. So in that way, it's very related to how we do any kind of art, I think
Yeah.
painting. I mean, how many painters do you love that everybody goes, "Oh, he's so good"? You're like,
Yeah, right.
that's a bit
Yeah.
short, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like, so that accent you just, how would you describe that accent you just did? What was
Oh, it's
that?
North London, ain't it? It's
Yeah,
one of those.
it is.
It's
Okay.
like,
So that's
That's right.
fantastic. So I want to do just two quick things here. So first it involves Nick. And the second thing is a question. So Nick has an incredible voice. Okay. You didn't need me to tell you that. You've heard him speaking already, not just on this cast, before that. Can you, Nick, please just say any sentence that comes to your mind in, like in your natural voice, not your old Jewish lady voice, or Bane, because he can do an old Jewish lady. It's kind of brilliant. And can you just rank, like, Dominic, his voice 1 to 10 on, like talking about
The
being
pressure's
honest.
on.
Can you just
no,
can you
he's
just
not gonna
don't
rank me.
Dominic?
That's not a thing.
Okay, don't rank them. But what do you think, Nick? Say a sentence.
No,
Like
no,
you were
he-
narrating. Like you
he's no,
read a
he's
sentence from a book. What do you
no,
think?
he's
What do you think,
he's
Dominic?
heard he's
let,
heard
let-
me
let
speak.
me, let me tell you something
No,
about this.
Nick,
No,
let
no,
him compliment you.
No.
Read a
Listen,
sentence from a
no,
book.
no. Dominic's got you. Go ahead.
yeah.
Look at him being coy.
The thing about voices, everybody's got their, everybody has a very distinct voice, very different voice, and you're a timbre, or
Mm-hmm.
you got a tenor, you got a soprano, you have all of those things. All you have to do is listen to a dozen books, narration, and you see how different everyone is. Finally, it's never the voice, because you have some really great voices who are boring as shit as a narrator.
Yep.
It's not about your voice. It's really about, I'm kind of a heralded, at least this year, voiceover artist. And people always ask me, well, what do I do? What do I do? And I say, I'm an actor.
Oh, I see.
I'm an actor.
Yes. Yeah.
You're talking about his old Jewish voice. What I did is I was up for
He might have to do it for the
for an
podcast ends now.
Audie. I was up for an Audie for a book called The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store
Okay.
by James McBride.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you, it takes place in Pottstown, Pennsylvania in the 1920s. It's an all Black and Jewish neighborhood. And I played 45 characters. I played 20 Eastern European Jews. I played an Italian woman who spoke an entire page in Italian. It's all about acting. It's really, because you have those very great voices. Yes, darling. You're like, yeah, it sounds nice, but I'm not hearing the soul. I'm not hearing. I mean, there's some people who do There's Jim Dale who did Harry Potter.
Right.
I read every episode of Harry Potter aloud to my son when he was small, and this is before I started doing audiobooks. And then I heard him do it. Wow.
Yeah.
This is a guy who does. So he has a great voice. You have a great instrument. Everybody, I haven't heard Papa Brother speak yet, but
we're gonna do your new name. Your new name is Papa Brother, by the way.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. So Dominic, you hit the nail on the head for me. So when I am using my regular voice,
Listen to it.
is when I have the greatest difficulty in speaking, like narrating something.
Sure.
I feel robotic.
I didn't
Right,
know
so
that.
I'll
That's
do it.
Interesting, Nick.
Yeah, I'll do it, and then I'll play it for my wife, and she's like, it doesn't sound like you. I'm like, but it's me. Like, what do you mean? And it's because
That's
I'm
interesting.
processing the words. But Chris mentioned this voice. You could call it Jewish, whatever it is, but it's
It's
just
an
a
old
voice
lady
that I
Jewish
do.
voice,
It's
yeah.
an old lady voice that I do. And then the Bane voice. Well, I find that those are better
Freedom.
because I'm acting.
Freedom.
Exactly. That's it. So I just get into it and I flow. But when it's me, I'm being very specific about these things, and it sounds, the cadence isn't right. The emotion isn't there. I'm not drawing people in. And I think that's it. That's the part that has been difficult for me to learn how to do with my own voice. So you hit it right on the head. You're an actor.
Yeah, because you're revealing more of yourself. You know,
Oh my
it's
God.
like
Oh,
there's no
you're getting into
filter.
therapy now.
Yeah.
There's no filter. No, there's no
No,
filter.
because you
You know,
just
the
have
thing
to
is,
know Nick. Doesn't want
I
to get into himself. Here we go.
I agree with that. I gotta tell you because on stage, if I can get a person's walk, I'm on my way to the character.
Mm,
When I get their voice, when I get their rhythm, I'm working on a new solo show. I've done a bunch of solo shows. I'm sort of known for that, but you have to
yeah.
be in New York or San Francisco or London to see them. But I'm working on my third one, and it's very very difficult because it's very very difficult right now for me to find voices for them,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it's problematic. I'll say that.
Well, I
Finding new
was
voices.
finding new voices for this.
Yeah, yeah,
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
The
Done
second
so
part of
many.
the thing I wanted to ask you was really about this idea of well, I'll ask you two things since you mentioned plays. Othello just came out recently with Denzel and Jake Gyllenhaal. Do you think they were the right choice for this play, considering the
Man,
feedback on it so far?
The body language.
no. Denzel's a wonderful actor, man. I haven't seen the play. I'm not going to comment on any of that stuff. He's one of the best actors there is. Period.
Hmm.
Um,
And him.
but you know, first of all, that the tickets are $1,000 is very very problematic to me. But
Yep,
Yep.
that's one of the big parts of the story right now. They can't
yeah,
believe that they're
come on,
charging what they're charging.
come
Yep.
on. But that said, it's not my favorite play. I think it should be called Iago, and I've been offered it twice. And I've turned it down. And I have a brother, friend of mine named Keith Hamilton. This is a bad brother, lives in New York. He's got this thing called the Othello Project. It's a solo show. It's phenomenal. And he plays an actor in the midst of like rehearsing this with the director. Of course, the director only has like 3 or 4 lines in the audience. It's a phenomenal piece. And what he does is he sort of dissects what it was to play Othello not only in those times, but as a black man.
Mm,
How does a black man swallow all of that bullshit? You know what I mean? It's a very very difficult thing to reconcile. Um, I never liked the play. I've directed Shakespeare. I've been in a ton of it. I mean, I'm a classically trained actor, but I just can't watch that.
Man, it was one of my favorites when I was a kid. And Lawrence Fishburne's Othello,
Fish.
yeah, it was one of the ones that I loved the most. And we talk about narration. I actually narrated Othello when I was, a youngling.
Mm.
But you're right. It is Iago. But if you watch Lawrence Fishburne's
Saw it.
Othello,
Mhm.
it's Othello.
I
And
get
I
it.
think, I think it's the way that you position it. I mean, it's Iago, it's his story, really. But I think the Lawrence Fishburne one was great. And there's just certain lines, man, that I just still remember. And again, from when I was a kid, and I just got to say one of them because you'll remember it. But when he said, "And I took by the throat the circumcised dog
And smote him
and smote him
thus.
thus." Oh, come on.
now, how was that?
It's
Now
one.
rank that
I
1 to
have
10.
one.
Rank that 1 to
I have
10. He
I
just
have a
did it for you.
one-word favorite. I have a one-word favorite.
Okay.
Strumpet.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
way better than
yes.
ho.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my
And
god.
it is perfect. It is perfect. And that's what I'm saying. Like but that's the poetry of it. It's just, I think that's what drew me to it so much. It's like, you can't tell your buddies in high school, like you can't say that line to them and they're like, "Yo, yeah, man." They're like, "What? What do you mean the
Right,
circumcised
exactly.
dog?" Like, you
Wait,
don't understand. He's so defeated.
have
You know
you
what I'm saying?
seen Keel and Key,
Oh,
Key and
Key and
Peele.
Peele?
Key
and Peele.
Key.
have you seen their take on
No,
Othello?
I gotta watch it now. No, I haven't seen it.
It's everything.
They're
Okay.
brilliant. They're brilliant.
It's
And I know Dave
everything.
Okay.
Chappelle has some sour grapes about that
That's the
show
first thing I was thinking.
because he thinks that they basically took his show and ran with
Well,
it.
they did at that time, but they improved.
They did, but they became their own thing.
Oh,
Yes,
100%.
they
I
did.
love
Yes, they did.
those clips. They really have
Yes, they
their
did.
own lane that they found,
Yeah,
and they are actually fantastic actors on top of being
they really
having
Agreed.
are.
that great
They
comedic
really
timing
are.
and chemistry, and that's what makes them stand apart from other skit shows. Frankly,
I
including
agree.
SNL. In my
Yeah.
opinion.
I got to watch
So
that now, though.
yeah.
It's
So
gonna knock
so
you out.
if you don't want to play chess, by the way, there's another very challenging game called Othello. You can play that. By the way,
Mm,
shout out to the game Othello.
right.
Um,
Nice. Nice. Well played.
Earlier in this conversation, and then we're going to get into some audience polls because I think it's about that time. But I just want to mention that earlier in the conversation, we were all just kind of joking, Nick, about me being, the light skinned chocolate stud of the two of us, etc., and all the different voices that you were talking about this, Dominic, all the different voices you might deploy, and actually having a difficult time finding new voices for your next one man only show. And it made me think about code switching and this idea that I know that I've done that before in the past, and I've done it almost subconsciously. And the question I have for maybe the whole panel here, but specifically for you, do you believe that code switching is essential for survival, or if not for survival, for a sort of happy and collaborative society?
You guys go ahead. I've been doing all the talking. Go ahead.
Well, no, well, I have one thing to comment, but then I want Dominic, you can go, because it's so interesting that Chris mentioned code switching.
Mhm.
And I've got a couple of
Interesting.
reasons why. Some we'll find out later. But today I asked a question to ChatGPT. Okay. The question itself doesn't matter. It responded to me. It said, yeah, you want to blah, 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 blah. And, it caught me off guard. So I typed and I said, please explain to me the basis upon which you decided to start your response with the word yeah in lieu of the word yes. And it said that it wanted to have a more conversational tone, and it thought that it was basically showing an example of code switching in
Mm,
order to make the conversation more light. And if it were my preference for it to be more formal, then it could do so. I said no.
that's
I I,
incredible.
I said no. I have no preference. The basis for your word choice is sound. So you're asking this question about code switching, and you got an AI chat bot over here code
Code
switching.
switching.
What?
It's part of the answer, maybe. I don't know, Dominic. What do you think?
You want to go? Did you want to go, Papa Bro?
No.
So it's really
No.
interesting that you said that, because this book, which has become everything, James,
Mhm,
it's about code switching.
mhm.
It's the retelling of the Mark Twain Huckleberry Finn story, and
Mhm.
he's called James because James speaks like I do right now when he's talking to everybody. When he's talking
Yeah.
about, yeah, master, I was down over by the house and they told me I shouldn't go in there. So I said, all right, I'm not gonna do that. You know how we are. I'm sorry, you know how we is. I mean, and they
Mhm.
actually told people, you don't talk to the master like you gotta say like always let the master know that he knows best and
Mhm.
never use the right language. And the whole thing is about code switching. The whole thing is about get that tracked over there on yonder or bring it over here right now, and he does both. So James code switches throughout the entire movie. I mean, the entire book. And there's one, he comes across this acting company and they powder his face up, make him white. And of course he sounds fine because he can do white people.
Mhm.
It's just, it's so subversive, but it's
No,
it's all
no, no.
about code switching. I thought that you heard the book. That's why you were asking this.
Yeah,
That's
look at that. It's just,
that's
well,
crazy.
Chris, if I may,
Mhm. Yep. Please, you
I,
you
I, I
you
gotta, I
may.
gotta, I gotta do a little something here,
Okay.
and it's, you know it as CC, but other people might know it as code
culture check.
All right. I got.
That was really a surprise. That was a surprise because I just said we were going to do audience polls, but we're not. We are going to drop into a culture check right now.
No, right now. We got to drop into a culture check because the timing of things. This is the universe. It just works itself out, and it brings the transition for me. So
I'm going to need some more liquor for.
Yeah, man. You better take a sip. Yeah. So when Dominic Hoffman played a character named Thaddeus Jameson White. And this character was on a show called Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yep.
And Thaddeus Jameson White was known to Mr. Cooper as Whitey. So why was Thaddeus Jameson White known as Whitey? Well, one could say, I think that in that cast of characters, he was the most light-skinned of the brown folks who were there. And Thaddeus Jameson White talked like me. Okay, so Thaddeus Jameson White, aka Whitey, was the brunt. He felt the brunt of, or he was the butt of, several jokes that suggested that he wasn't black enough. And I've been watching this show with my kids recently. Like, I go through all these shows. My kids watch the shows that I watched. Okay. So we've watched A Different World. We're watching Cosby Show. We're watching Hanging with Mr. Cooper. And as an adult, I'm watching this and I see it a little bit differently than I did when I was younger. Because now I question, right? I'm like, should they have been doing that? Should they have been making fun of Whitey because he was light-skinned and he had near perfect, if not perfect, diction? Right? And I think about that. I was like, should we have been doing that? Now, this is the current me, right? This is the adult me. When I was a kid, I loved it. Right? And let me tell you why I loved it. I didn't love it because Whitey was getting teased. I loved it because I was Whitey. Kids in my school, the white kids, right, would always say to me, "Hey, Nick, like, why don't you act black?" I'm like, I don't even know what you mean. Like, what are you talking about? They would point to some other kid walking down the hall and be like that. Like, you don't act black and you don't talk black. I said, wait a second. So what is black? Like, now I'm confused, right? Now,
right.
So, and it used to make me think, I say, oh, so I must not be black then. So what is black? So it always made me have that feeling. And Chris, you and I have talked about it. I was like, for the longest time, I didn't associate with the term, right? I was like, then I'm not black. I'm African American,
right?
But I'm not black because I'm not that thing that they associate with what I'm not. So when I got to see this, and again, every episode he was on, Cooper Whitey, he just loved calling him Whitey because he just wasn't black enough. And to my white friends, right, I wasn't black enough. To my black friends, I wasn't black enough. So I was like, go ahead, Whitey. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Thaddeus Jameson White. Stand up for yourself. Be who you are. And he can tell all the jokes that he wants to tell, but you are like, he stood up straight, right? He had good posture. He spoke well. He dressed well. And he was not ashamed of who he was. So I'm just telling you, I love that because I saw myself in that character.
You saved Nick's life, as it turns out.
I would be lying if I didn't say that wasn't a problematic part for me.
I knew it. That's why I brought it up. I knew it. But go ahead. I won't.
Yeah, how'd you get over it?
No,
How'd
I mean,
you work it out?
I forgot his name. Who's the guy? The
Cooper.
Who played Mr. Cooper? What was his name?
You gotta be blanking on it right now. I gotta look
him up. Yeah, me too. Anyway,
Papa Bear's got it.
Nice cat.
Yep, and he's still doing comedy, by the way. Mark Curry,
brother. Mark.
Oh, I know Mark Curry. Yeah.
So that came over. I was a one-off. I was supposed to just come on for one scene, and the comedians, like I did, Jamie Foxx show,
Yep.
when they take off, man, you're in a scene, you're rehearsing, you got some lines, but they're the stars, so they can get to do what they want. I remember. So he started calling me Whitey, and everybody started laughing. Said, okay, we're gonna use that. It's
Yep.
like when I was doing the Jamie Foxx show, I'm doing it, and this was not his line. This is some shit he made up, but it was funny as hell. He goes, "Oh, I didn't know that the Barges were having a family reunion." That's a great line.
Shout out to El DeBarge.
Yeah.
Oh, we love them. Yeah, we love them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. I don't remember speaking about hanging with Mr. Cooper or Thaddeus White in 30 years, because that's the last time it was on, or 25
That's right.
years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
man.
interesting that so you put that in the back seat of your life. In a
All
way.
of that stuff. That was a very, I'm very present. I try to be. Saves my life.
But is that because that helps you do the art or art that you're proud of? Or is it because there's too much baggage there? Are there wounds there? Is there a nostalgic wound there from the past?
No. Just interest, That's not what an area of interest I have, We all have interest, I mean, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff you did 10 years ago that, you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Next,
Usually I'm pretty embarrassed by it. Like if I put on a song, or like I read something I wrote, especially the stuff I wrote song wise in my teens and 20s was so sophomoric that
it's beautiful though.
Part of me wants to rewrite it, and then part of me says, no, never rewrite it, because you lose sort of what that was in that moment, right?
I agree.
Like so it's a tough one, because it's like, well, the bones are good, but the meat around it is terrible. Just change the meat. And I'm like, well, maybe there's better ideas too.
No, you could
leave that
do
in the
that.
past.
Chef.
I know, but you can do that, but it's something new. Like, it's okay to take something and make it new. It was what it was at the time.
Right.
So the way I look at it, like Dominic said, he hasn't thought about it. I've been thinking about just the fact that we've lived so many lives. It's like, Chris talked about being a musician. Like
you're a musician too.
See, this is what okay. So I would love to say that I'm a musician. So Dominic, I played the clarinet growing up. Then I played the saxophone.
Yeah.
Then I moved, got to college. I've even played nightclubs in Nashville, and that was my thing, right? I played instruments. I played music. Look at that. Oh, clarinet. So I did this, right? And
right now?
So what I'm saying is that I was a musician. Okay. And Chris will say, no, Nick, you are a musician, right?
Yes.
And I try to say that just like the same way I'm a soccer player. And I said that, and I've told this story way too many times, probably just because it hurts my feelings. So I was with my daughter, and someone was asking me something like, hey, you work out? I was like, yeah, I work out, but I'm also a soccer player. So, and my daughter stops me, and she's 10, and she says, no, he's not. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, Dad, when's the last time you played soccer? Oh, I'm like, it's been a minute. Right? So it's like, I want to say I am the thing, but it's been so long. So yeah,
I understand. With music, it's like I was a conguero. I played congas, and the right ear. But I can't play in the house. I haven't played. I haven't put my hands on them in 5 years. I'm no longer a musician. But you remind me of a funny story. So I'm a big Kobe Bryant fan. My son was a good.
Me too.
My son's 27. I told him I didn't want to talk about my family, but let me just do this. Thank you guys for appreciate that. But my son's 20. No, he just turned 28. I'm sorry. And big Kobe Bryant fan. Turned me on to Kobe, actually. Really, his love of Kobe, it resonated with me. And I use a Mamba mentality in acting, writing, and everything, because that's what it is. You want to do it? Practice. So one day he comes in. I live in Venice, California. He comes into the Kookaroo. He walks in. He's only with one person. And I see him walk by. I finish my lunch. I walk up to him and I said, hey, man, just want to say I love your work. And he said, hey, man, I love your work. I said, oh, wow, thank you. I call my son. I say, hey, son, you're not going to believe it. I said, what? I saw Kobe. Dad, did you talk to him? Yeah. What'd you say? I said, I love your work. He said, what'd he say? He said he loved my work. He goes, what work? Now, my son has seen everything I've done. When he was 4 years old, he'd sit in the corner while I'm rehearsing a solo show. What work?
I tell you, man, it just gets you right in your heart, though. It's like, come on, what are you
you can never be an emperor of your own kingdom.
Yeah, man.
Ain't nobody.
You're right. What are you talking about? Yeah, man.
That's a great.
That
is a great story.
But I did want to say that I have been reflecting on these lives that I have lived, and it is interesting. I mean, I still do reflect. I reflect on the time that I was a saxophonist, right? And I played in a band. I reflect on the times when I played soccer 7 days a week. If there were an 8th day, I would have played that day too, right? And then there was a time when I was going out to the clubs all the time. Now there's a time when I had a first child, and that was ages ago. And now I got 3 kids. It's like there's all these different phases, and I feel like they're not even just phases. They're like different lives. And each one of them a different person, right? It's a whole different thing. And that's why I can kind of look at when you say, yeah, I mean, a different world, that was lifetimes ago. It's not just years, it's lifetimes ago. You're not that person anymore, right? You can relate to who that person is, but you're not that person. So it's easy to put that kind of behind you because, again, that was a different person. You're somebody else now. You're living a life now. You're present now. And, like I said, you don't even think about it. But I do want to say that it's impactful. I was going to say this. It's very impactful as an artist. That's the cool thing about it, is that you left that behind. That art stuck with me, right? That art stuck with me so much that I'm now passing it down to my children. So as you're going and you're living these new lives, that old version of you is still living on through your art. And that is such an amazing gift to be able to give to the world.
Wow. Thank God for the rumor.
Here, man.
It survives.
And I think Nick, it goes back, and Dominic and PB, it goes back to what we said about code switching, which is that people are more comfortable when you meet them where they are. And when you don't do that, they call you to the carpet for it sometimes. You're not a soccer player. What work? What? And that's why we had that temptation to code switch, to do something that we wouldn't normally do if we were alone. It's an interesting concept. And I appreciate the culture check, and I appreciate the feedback for sure. Let's pay some bills. Can we pay some bills, guys?
Let's do that.
Go ahead.
All right. We're going to pay some bills.
Let me get out my wallet.
Yep.
What's up, people? Now, I got something for you. I want you to make it. See what I did there? You like that? I kind of like it. You like that? You see, make it your best season yet. Now, what does that mean? Make it your best season yet. Your best nutrition and health season yet with what? Nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. That's right. Factor is sponsoring this episode, and we appreciate that because eating well has never been this easy. With Factor, you just heat it up and enjoy, which gives you more time to do what you want. Filmmaking, hanging out with family, friends, or more importantly, watching us do what we do. But check it out. Factor has 45 weekly options, all right, on their menu. You can pick from gourmet meals that fit your goals. You can choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day with satisfying breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks. Now, the snacks are awesome because I know we're always struggling to find the right snack when we're trying to eat healthy. And, of course, they have desserts. It's easy to save time and save more money as you're getting into Factor because those meals pack in the flavor and they're actually a very good price. So I know, Chris, you're loving on these Factor meals just as much as I am. I'm over here talking. What do you got, man?
I'm loving on them. That can be taken a lot of different ways, but I think I know what you mean. Shout out to Factory though, because they sent us some meals. They sent us a bunch of meals actually, and I had several of them. I had vegetarian options, I had meat options, I had keto options, I had all these different options, and I had a ton of their smoothies. So you talk about like a healthy snack. Now, while these smoothies aren't like, I wouldn't call them like, the most, low calorie, low sugar thing in the world. They're not intended to be. They're intended to satiate, give you that snack when you want it, but also have that healthy thing to it because it's all fruit in those smoothies. Now, meal wise, I had to say I had two that I loved. I had the roasted red pepper filet mignon. It has tortellini primavera and lemon garlic butter. It was so good. I had it. It was prepared in less than 5 minutes. Like I was ready to go in 5 minutes.
There you go.
And it meets my goal that I have, right? I got vacations coming up this summer. I'm trying to get back to College Chris. College Chris was 210 pounds.
There you go.
Right. So I got 30 to lose, just to give you a sense of where I'm at today. That's incredibly personal.
Yeah,
That's what we do on the Make It podcast. But that's what it is.
Yep.
But Factor allows me to do that. And I'm already on the way. Like I'm down 10 pounds already. I'm not saying it's because of Factor, but did they help? They sure did.
Wait. It's not because of Factor, but it's a factor.
It's a factor.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying. Well, I just got to say, if you want to get started with this, get on this journey that we're on, you can get started at factormeals.com/make-it50-off. So that's make it, MAKEIT, the number 50 off, OFF. So make it 50 off. And you got to use that code, make it 50 off. So again, factormeals.com/make it 50 off. And then when you're there, use the code make it 50 off, and you're going to get 50% off, right? It's already fantastic. Plus you get free shipping on your first box. Again, make it 50 off.
And now back to the show.
Yes, sir.
We're back to the show, and as promised, probably 30 minutes ago, we're going to get into some audience polls. No intern Sam this week. So Nick, can you please take over for intern Sam and enlighten us with this episode's audience polls from our YouTube platform?
Awesome. I will do that. And I think I would say that this installment, Sons, intern Sam, it would say is inspired by our bookshop. So bookshop.org, we got an awesome collaboration
Black owned.
with them. Yep, Black owned company.
Female owned.
There you go. Look at them. Black owned, female owned, independent, right? Entrepreneurs.
Yep.
So yeah, we have a great bookshop.org. And one of the great things about that, we've got that on our beacons. So beacons.ai, all over, whether it's on bonsai.film or through YouTube. You can click that beacons link and you can go to our bookshop. We try to curate content, curate books for people to read, things that are interesting to Chris and I, right, in our lives, things that are compelling to us, as well as things that we think that filmmakers would enjoy or can learn from. So bookshop.org, please check out our beacons again on YouTube and on bonsai.film to check all that good stuff out. And with that, I'll get into the poll. I'm actually going to do one, since we did a culture check. I'm going to do this one poll. Okay. So
one long poll.
Yes, one. So which do you prefer? Physical books.
Papa Bear's
You're right. He's like,
Papa Bear's disapproval of me is
of
so
your
palpable.
Right.
I'm sorry, PB.
All right. So, which do you prefer?
I was immature.
Physical books or audiobooks?
Ooh. Okay. What are the?
Okay.
Those are only two choices.
Those are the
binary?
only two choices.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Physical books, 84%. Audiobooks, 16%.
Wow.
Now, there's something really, really interesting about that. So our audience tends to be between, it's like the ages of 18 and 45, with
right.
the strongest number, I think, between our 25 and 35.
Yep. That's about the home
That
of our audience. Yeah.
group right there, I would not have thought that they went physical books over audiobooks. Never in a million years. Like I'm floored by it. I did not expect that result at all, because I feel like a lot of the folks that I talk to in that age range, it's like audiobooks, podcasts, YouTube. It's things that are easily consumable while doing other things, right?
Exactly.
No
That
one does one
th-
thing anymore.
therein lies the rub. And Dominic, PB, I don't know if you guys agree. And Nick, I am not surprised by the outcome. I am surprised by the difference in the outcome. I will say that. I didn't think
Yeah.
it'd be 84-16. I
No.
thought it'd be like maybe 55-45 to
Right.
if I'm being real, like
Yep.
because I think, and this is, I'm cheating a little bit because I read some of the comments on this, but it's but I feel the same way. So I identify with this. What I've found is the performance on the audiobook needs to be great. And Dominic mentioned earlier about when you start listening to a lot of audiobooks, you start to realize the difference between a great narrator of audiobooks and someone who is really making it difficult for you to get through it. I just finished Blood Meridian on audiobook. That the person who did that is, I mean, top 1% talented. Then you can go to
Blood
sort of,
Meridian.
yeah. I know Cormac
Cormac
McCarthy
McCarthy?
wrote it, but he didn't narrate it.
Oh, I know, but
I,
extraordinary book. Okay, sorry.
I'm jealous. I found myself. This is an aside, which is what I do.
Part and parcel.
Yeah, but Dominic, throughout this book, I found myself laughing out loud because I
You're a
could
sick
not
mother.
believe.
You're a sick.
No, not laughing at the content. But yes, I am. But I am a sick motherfucker. But here's the deal. I could not believe how well it was written. I couldn't believe it. I was like, to be able to write like this is hilarious.
Yeah, so Dominic, those are those moments when you hear something and you're like,
The
like
judge.
that's what that is.
Pure jealousy.
The
Yeah.
judge. I'll never forget that character.
The judge. Oh my God, the judge, man. The
Mm.
judge. And you thought it was going to be about the kid, but it's really about the judge.
Yeah.
And if you haven't read or listened to Blood Meridian, go do it immediately. But then I'd look at somebody like Malcolm Gladwell, and his voice isn't a pleasing voice, but it's a known voice, and therefore it works.
Yeah,
And
he
it's
knows his material.
yeah, it's interesting. He narrates his own books, and it works. But here's what I find: when the narrator isn't good, I don't remember anything about the book, nothing. And so when I have the book in my hand, I remember everything, and I have the opportunity to highlight. So I think it really illustrates people's frustration with, okay, I'm listening to the audiobook, but do I enjoy audiobooks or am I addicted to stimulation? So I want to be stimulated now. It's 2025. I want to be stimulated at all costs, no matter what. I want a freaking TV in my eyeballs. I want an audiobook in my ears, and I want somebody massaging my shoulders at the same time if I can do it. I do believe that people are addicted to stimulation now.
I agree.
Because
Yeah.
people will listen to entire audiobooks and not remember anything from it.
Yeah, I think there's one other thing with our audience. So I'm glad that you're mentioning that, because maybe they read it they read it in their context. So let me just kind of explain this. So if you guys have ever used Blinkist,
Yeah.
right? It's like the Cliff Notes of books.
Mm.
Okay. And I listen to that from time to time, just to depend
Well,
on
it's the
topic,
digital
right?
Cliff Notes of books,
Yeah,
because
it's
Cliff Notes is the Cliff Notes of books.
it's the audio Cliff Notes of books, right? So it's the digital audio app-based Cliff Notes of books. So it's really cool because you can get these little snippets,
Yeah.
but their voices are boring. Like, I mean, there was one
They're
that
no
they had
Dominic
on there
Hoffman.
that I was blown. I was like, they let this, so it was so bad I couldn't tell if it was a person or if it was AI, right? It was just like there's
Yeah.
no inflection, there's no tone, and they're so clean, right? There's obviously no breaths. You don't hear any of that in there, but it's so clean.
No
Like
soul,
Chris
as
said, I don't
Dominic was
remember.
saying.
Yeah, the soul's gone. I couldn't
Yeah.
remember any of it. It wasn't like someone was advising me or someone was kind of giving me the story. It was just words. And I'm curious if our audience, when they thought about audiobooks, if they were more equating it to these snippet type things, right? Things that are quick, right? That you can listen to, and they're like, no, those, I hate those because, again, it sounds like a robot or it's basic, but they haven't really experienced like a true audiobook. So I don't know. It's a good point that you made about what people are consuming. So maybe they're voting against something totally different, like Blinkist. You know, I don't know. Just a thought.
Oh,
There,
there's a
there,
great difference. There's a difference between great narration and reading aloud. And I think that that element that makes it great is what Dominic brings to it. I've listened to several of your samples of your narration, and that's that element you pointed to, acting. And when you bring in the acting element, it changes it from reading out loud.
yeah,
I
I
agree.
wanted to address a couple things, and what you just said. I hate the clip because you don't really get to understand what the person is going to do
Yeah.
because it's just this much and it's out of context. But what happens sometimes if you get an actor in there and they start out and you might be just okay, 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 but then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, because there is a progression in the
Hmm.
storytelling, as there is when you read a book by itself and okay, 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 oh shit, okay, oh, okay, oh, you know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
develops into something. The other thing I want to say is I'm surprised by these numbers. Kindle was not in there, and I read from Kindle only because I can blow the
Right.
shit up, so I don't have to do things.
Yep.
But I miss books so much. But I was thinking that number surprised me. But I think one of the things, I mean, if you took that poll in LA, it would be off the charts in the other direction. Why? Because you have to commute. You have
Yep.
to drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
good point.
if you are driving all the time, those people listen to audiobooks like nobody's business. I
Mm.
can't tell you how many people said, "Yeah, man, I was on my way to New Mexico and I listened to 2 of your books." I'm like, "Dang, how far
Wow.
is it? 14 hours it takes to get to New Mexico from here in the car."
Yeah.
So here in commuting, I mean, I live in Venice, man. For me, it takes a court order for me to go, 10 blocks past the place. I'm like, no. But if from any time from 2:30 to 7, it'll take you 3 or 4 times as long to get somewhere on the east. If you go from west to east here.
Yeah.
So people listen to audiobooks. And
When
I'm
I
wondering
first
how
used
many
to
people
go
there,
to
how
You
many
go
live
people
ahead.
in
there
LA.
commute,
Right.
your
I,
group.
I think there's some validity to that for sure. I
Hmm.
remember when I first used to go out to LA for meetings, and
I'm sorry.
I didn't know anything about LA, and people would like literally cancel meetings if they thought they're like, where are you staying? Oh, you're staying in Marina Del Rey? No, the meeting's off. Like I'm not driving. I'm not driving. And I realized, oh, this is a big consideration. Like you need to be in a place like where they can meet you in the middle, and it's not like the end of the day for them, right? And I've been in traffic there on the 405 where it took me 2 hours to get to a place that was 10 miles away, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Now that was in the morning, that was AM traffic, but still,
Hey, man,
that's insane.
where are you?
I'm in Nashville right now, but
Are-
I used to go to LA like every 3 weeks.
What's traffic like in Nashville?
Worsening
Yeah.
every day. We get about 90 to 100 new people that move here a day. What happened is Nashville started making all these New York Times best places to live lists
Mm,
and best places to visit lists. Then we started showing
mm.
up in TV shows as like the place the characters were going to. And I think now Charlemagne the God calls it White Atlanta. And so I don't disagree with
That's a
them.
good one.
White
Um,
Atlanta. That's a good one.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's busy every day of the week now. Like downtown is busy every single day of the week, and the hot chicken line never go and never it's never short. Kept thinking to myself the last time I was down there was like, how many chickens do they kill a day? Like how many chickens are being consumed out of this one hot chicken spot per day? The line never ceases to be empty. Like what a great business to be in. I invested in a bunch of businesses recently that can legally sell drugs, and I think hot chicken must be a drug. I think they sprinkle crack on it. I don't know
They
what they
do.
do,
No, they
but
do. It's baked in.
but people are addicted to hot chicken here in Nashville. So that's
just
Nashville.
just ask Black Dynamite. That's all I got. That's all I gotta say.
I want a sample. I want a chicken wing.
You
Yeah,
come down
man.
to Nashville,
Yeah.
key to the city. I'll take you to 1230 Club to Soho House and Hattie B's, and we'll have a great time.
Hattie B's.
And okay, so here's one last thought, then we'll go to some things we should know with producer Papa Bear. I think the younger part of our audience uses books as a way to project. I do. I've seen it.
Project?
Yeah, and we have certain staff members here that do that. Actually,
What do
young,
you
because we have a
mean?
lot of young folks that work for us.
So
Dominic.
what do you mean, Chris? What are they projecting?
They're projecting their values. They're projecting who they are. They're projecting confidence. They're projecting their belief system. They're projecting their intelligence,
Knowledge base. Yeah.
knowledge base.
So what
They're
you mean by
walking
this
around
is
with
they're
the book.
walking around with the book.
They're walking around with the book, and now
Strangest
now
thing
they're
I've
really,
heard.
really now they're really, really smart, right? Now they're
Wow.
really, really intelligent. I'm the person that reads. How many kids and how many people 25 and under wear glasses that aren't prescriptions? A lot, because glasses project something,
Yeah, make
you
you
know,
look studious.
to
Yep.
and there's a part of
There
this
you
that
go,
happens
yeah.
in there's a part of this that happens in all consumer behavior, right? And not to get
That's
too deep
crazy.
into this, Papa Bear is has a degree in psychology. He can back me on this. But if you look at like a car purchase, I might outwardly say, consciously say to you, Nick, hey, I bought this car because of the performance and the way it's built and the craft. And I might truly believe in that. But at the end of the day, you from the outside cannot experience that. And so for you, what I'm really doing for you through that purchase is saying something to you about me. I am saying to you, hey man, I got a Mercedes. I made it.
I mean, but you could just wear an Einstein shirt. I mean, why do you know what I mean? Why carry
Why
a book?
Because the Einstein, so this goes into one of my razors. I have a personal razor. This is one of the Chris Barkley razors that I developed over the years, which is this. Any person wearing a screen printed t-shirt with words on it, it is not what they are, but what they hope to be. And I had this epiphany. Yeah, you hope to make it, PB. Exactly. So do I. So do I, by the way. Right. And it's not punitive. It's not a negative thing. I'm not being cruel here. I'm simply saying that we buy t-shirts with words on them because they inspire us to continue on the path that we are on. I had this epiphany in the most hilarious way, which was that I was in, where was I? I think I was in Europe, and I saw this about 5'4" white kid, probably 180. He was really fat for his height. Unfortunately, he's really heavy for his height. I want to be PC about it, and I want to be cruel. But he had a shirt on that said "Buckets All Day" by Nike, and I'm like, okay, he doesn't get buckets all day. I know that. Everyone knows that.
He could.
No, he doesn't. He
just
doesn't.
because he big bone doesn't mean he can't. You know,
No,
I mean, you might know for a fact.
No,
that
I looked at his
doesn't,
calf
but-
muscles.
Hey,
I looked at his
hey.
calves. I looked at his arms. There's no buckets in there. I was searching around his whole being for buckets. There were none.
Well, I would have to.
But he wants
no,
to.
no,
he wants
no,
to have
no.
buckets all day. He does want that.
No, because there's KFC sells.
Buckets of hot chicken.
so Chris, I would
stop it, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm not right. So here's the thing. So Chris, I would agree and I would
Buckets of
disagree with you,
chicken.
right? Yeah, I would
Okay.
agree and I would disagree.
I
So
misread
here's-
that completely. For must be
Yes,
the Nike
you did.
symbol.
You misread. So
we
agree
need to
and I
make a
disagree.
T-shirt that has the KFC logo and says "buckets all day." That's a
he
$1
tried to be
million
subtle.
idea.
You try to be subtle. So
Okay.
so here's the thing. So like I said, I agree and I disagree, right? Because you know me, I got a
Yeah.
T-shirt that says "Be happy," right?
Yeah, you want to be
And,
happy.
Yes, right. But I am, and I want to be. But the truth of the matter is that we are not anything.
Okay.
Because to be anything means that there's a static point in time. Every second of every day, things move forward.
You mean
So-
it's like a doctor's appointment? Like you get your test, you're so excited. It's just
No,
it's just a moment in time that
it's
you were
a
healthy.
moment in time. Like
were healthy at 3 o'clock on Tuesday?
Exactly, because it never stops moving.
Yeah.
So when I wear that be happy thing, I know that this is my journey, right? That's why I wear it, because that is my journey. You're right. I am becoming, and there's influences that are going to happen in the next 10 seconds. It didn't happen 10 seconds ago that might try to take my happiness from me. But that be
Yes.
happy, to your point, is the thing that I reflect on in order to make sure that I continue on that journey of
Yes.
becoming, like you're saying. And I want to offer one more thing back to
Please.
our black talk that we had earlier.
Yeah.
I will
Black
tell you
talk.
this. That's right. That's a new segment.
Brought to you
Black talk.
by.
New segment. Black talk.
is this.
Brought to you by Coming to America
White
3.
Elmer's glue. Anyway, back to that is that I also want to say this. And this is something that I think has probably been trained in me by my parents. And I don't think about it now. But when I wear my Be Happy shirt, it's a black shirt with white letters, right?
Yep.
I might wear it with like my black Adidas pants and black shoes. I might wear a black hat, right? Now I'm in all black. So now I'm a black guy in all black.
Yeah.
Did you say Adidas?
There you go. But be happy is disarming. Right. So that is I will tell you that I do consciously wear that shirt in places where I know that I might go where people don't look like me.
Yeah.
I wear that shirt, man. Just all the walls go down.
Disarm them. Yeah. Right away. They kind of get a sense, again, you're projecting out, because it's like they get a sense that you're not the black person they expected.
Right.
If that's fair to
I'm
say.
not a threat.
It gets really interesting when you continue to go down this rabbit hole, Dominic. That's all I'm saying. It gets really interesting when you circle around this rabbit hole of all the things we've been talking about today. And look, I don't have anything against anyone who wears. I have printed T-shirts, but it's not really something that I don't think should be debated. It's really an aphorism. It's just a general truth. I mean, if you can cherry pick out things, yeah, but in general, I think we all want to wear things that project or drive cars, and this goes back to the poll. We want to carry around books, and it has to be the right book, and it has to be the right day and the right crowd. It's like, look, I am a reader. And that already makes you different in a world where people are addicted to digital stimulation. So anyway, Good poll. I like it. Good job, Sam.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man. All right, we're going to go into some things we should know with producer Papa Bear. By the way, things we should know is brought to you by Indie Insights. Indie Insights is our bi-weekly newsletter. Comes out every 2 weeks. You can subscribe to that at bonsai.film/subscribe. Indie Insights is sort of your insider's love letter for those who are into film and all things film. We pull from all over the place to grab the stories that didn't get enough attention, the things, the software, the tools, and a bunch of other freebies that we throw in there as well. Again, Indie Insights, our bi-weekly newsletter. You won't regret it. Completely free. And you can subscribe to that at bonsai.film/subscribe. You can also subscribe to it on our Beacon site at beacons.ai. And you can find those links on our YouTube platform or on our website, the aforementioned bonsai.film. Okay, with that, PB, can you drop some things we should know?
I can.
All right.
And I think this one will be, very easy for our guest, because this is his business. This is his world.
Famous last words.
Right.
No. I won't be surprised. He should get it right off. So.
Oh my God! What the
pressure.
pressure he's putting on Dominic, right? It's crazy.
It's not
No,
fair.
Okay. All right, here you go. Who is the audiobook narrator that has won the most Audible awards, and how many?
I have no idea.
Wait. And it's specifically Audible, but it's Audible Awards. It's not voice
the
acting.
Audie. It's the Audible Awards.
It's audiobook narrator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is it Scott
that has
Brooke?
won the most Audible awards?
Right.
I will tell you
And how
that this
many?
person has won awards in more than one award system in the audiobook world.
Well, hold on. He asked you a question. Say it again, Dominic.
Is it Scott Brick?
Oh, No.
Okay. So, full disclosure,
Yeah.
I have never listened to an audiobook.
Chris, wait.
Not even your own?
Listen.
Absolutely not.
Not even his
Because you've
own.
heard it already.
No,
He lived it. Yeah.
You lived it.
no.
So why don't you listen to your own?
Oh, I can't stand it. I
audiobook?
can't stand to hear my voice.
Yeah.
I can't stand to watch myself either. You know, I mean,
We never sound like we think we sound.
That's true.
It's just, and also there's just something about the thing about being present. You know what I mean? You just be in it. You know, you're not listening for it. You know, it's like, I guess I don't even like wearing headphones while I'm recording, and sometimes I don't.
But others in the industry. You've been to these award programs with them.
Man, I don't pay attention. I don't go to a lot of awards ceremonies. You know, I don't. I've been nominated before and I didn't go. First of all, you have to pay for your own way to go out there. Go to New York, you got to pay all that stuff. I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah, they need to step their game up. Let's go with
that's a little tough to hear, I'm sure, but I mean, it's true, and I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
we love honesty.
So
the problem for me, Papa Bear, is I don't know a lot of
audiobook narrators.
There
I can't even.
There's
it's
a
probably
guy
a movie
that
star or something, right?
Oh yeah, maybe a movie star, and knowing PB Nick, it's probably somebody from a really long time ago.
It's Paul Newman.
Okay, I'm gonna guess Orson Welles.
Because remember Paul Newman, he's an actor. He makes really good salad dressing. There's all I could see him doing that as well. But I have no clue, PB. Who is this person? We have no clue.
This is a British actor.
Stephen Fry?
Hugh Grant.
Who has lived in California for decades.
Michael Caine. That was a terrible Michael Caine, by the way.
That was terrible.
Oh, that was a shot at it,
Yeah, I tried. It was on the spot.
In the LA area.
Okay.
Simon Vance has now won not only 17 Audie Awards and 77 audiophile earphone awards, but has also narrated over 1,000 books.
What?
And is in the Audible Hall of Fame.
Wow.
1,000 books?
1,000 books. Wait. Can we? No, wait. Can we stop?
Do that in a lifetime? What's his name?
Wait. Stop. Wait, go ahead. Say the name, and then I have a question.
Simon Vance.
Simon Vance.
So Dominic, you've done it's near or at least
Dominic
over
knows
200,
who that is,
right?
Yeah, I do know who that is, but I don't listen to audiobooks. So.
Yeah, but listen, Dominic. But you've done near or over 200 of these audiobooks, right? Yeah. What does it take? What does it take? As in, how much time does it take?
Yeah.
Depends on the book.
Okay, let's talk about James.
James took me 3 days.
It's
the hardest job I have.
That's what I was gonna say, but that doesn't even seem like enough time.
Well, you don't have that much
It doesn't
time.
seem like enough
really
time.
Do I just did an interview for a class, masterclass in audiobooks, and they were asking me all these questions, and I guess they were surprised at what I'm going to tell you right now. You don't really have much prep. My prep is I read the book once out loud.
Okay.
I take mental notes. I don't really take many, and then I act. But I've done everything from I feel sorry for a lot of white folks because they got to do those Russians.
No.
You got 9 million Russian names. I'll tell you what slows you down: names, dates, and places.
Yeah.
You want a heavy narrative, so you can just. But when you have these crazy, impossible names, dates, places, it slows you down completely. I do a lot of African books because I can do an African accent, and but I've done. I do everything from Tyler Perry to. I did the new translation of Dante's Inferno. There's no good news in that one, I just tell you. It ends badly.
Right.
I think I'm named after that book.
You are.
Yeah, but yeah. It takes
my middle name, by the way. Yeah.
What's that?
Dante.
Dante's your middle name?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I'm named after Dante's Inferno. Yeah.
Damn. All right.
No, you're
So-
named after the French
Wait,
author.
the author. Yeah, Dante, and his last name starts with an A, right?
Allegria. Dante Allegria.
Yeah.
I think so.
There we go. Okay. Whatever.
Something like that.
Listen, I'm shocked, and I think Nick is too, that one, the prep is what it is, and then it takes 3 days to get through it.
Maybe
Because
three
the
and a half.
performance is so, and if you've listened to a lot of audiobooks, you've heard some great ones. The performances can be astonishing.
Have to be.
Yeah, but a book is. You said a book
you
could be how long? How many
assume
hours?
it takes. You assume it takes weeks to get that right.
Yeah. Well,
He's like, well, you don't have that much time, so you can't
it's
take
not the
weeks.
best paid job either. You know what I mean? It's a union. You know, it was after, and I got no problem berating after. But we never.
Is this
wanted
before
SAG
they
and AFTRA.
joined with
We
SAG?
never wanted SAG and AFTRA to join, but you know
Yeah.
they made the original contract, so it's not very good. And you know, I mean that's what it is, and it's a really hard job though. People, I can't tell me, oh man, I really would like to do audiobooks, and I'm saying, all right, you know,
Try it once, see what happens.
you can have
I'll give you a
somebody-
bonus.
That sounds like a threat, Nick.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
try
What
it.
you got? What's the bonus, PB?
The bonus is the longest narrated book was 264 hours.
the Bible.
No, this
Good
was
guess.
Charles Dickens' collection, 10 of his
No.
novels, but it was all one recording.
Oh, they did a oneer for an audiobook?
One
It was
recording?
one release. It's not like they released
How many
10
hours?
264
Did
hours
Sean Advance do it?
no, he did not do that one.
Mm.
No.
That's incredible.
PB, do you know who did it?
Yeah, wait. Let's just get this right real quick.
Oh, wait a minute.
So it's one release.
Yeah,
but
one release.
Oh, he didn't do a oneer. I thought he was saying that he did a oneer, like he did a one take.
That's
Oh,
what I'm
no,
saying.
no.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's what I'm saying now.
But it's one release. But there is one that's longer that were separate releases. The Fyodor Dostoevsky Complete Collection, 264 hours and
Dostoevsky.
38 minutes.
How long was that?
Dostoevsky. Yeah.
Fyodor Dostoevsky. Okay.
264 and 38 minutes. So 38 minutes longer,
Oh my God.
the complete collection, but it wasn't in
Wow.
one release. So to listen to the
Amazing.
complete collection, that's how long it takes.
Alrighty then.
Oh boy, I got a lot of respect for what you do, Dominic. I do.
Yep.
It comes
I
out
really
to
do.
11 days.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for it. And Papa Bear, by the way, a lot of
Mhm.
respect for you. That is a thing we should know. I can actually see Dominic walking into his next awards after party and just
Mhm.
dropping that on somebody
Bam.
and
Nice
immediately
try.
elevating
That's
himself
not
to the
gonna happen.
intellectual in the room.
Right. He's like, no, I'm
Boom.
not doing that.
No, that's not gonna happen. I I don't want to be anybody's Huckleberry. You know?
Shout out to Val Kilmer.
Yeah, right.
R.I.P. Val Kilmer.
Yeah, over
He
yonder.
did. Who did want to be somebody's Huckleberry?
In
in
that
Tombstone.
was one of the best performances I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, likewise. And people connected with Val, I think before that, maybe with Top Gun, but I first sort of became aware of him on the movie Tombstone. And Doc Holliday was probably my favorite character
That was
I'd
a great
seen
one also.
in a movie for a long time. I mean, for me, he held sort of the crown of like character development for
Dude.
a really long time. I remember thinking about that character years after I'd seen the movie. And it was funny because Tombstone came out, I want to say right around the same time that Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood
Oh
and
yeah,
Morgan
yeah,
Freeman
yeah,
came
yeah.
out.
Unforgiven, I remember that.
And those two movies
And they're both
really
dead.
made me love. Yeah, those two movies made me love Westerns. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, I kind of like this genre now. And before it was something that grandmas were watching and I wanted to avoid. And now it's like, oh, I get it. I get why this genre is so popular.
You didn't like John Wayne?
Well, I don't have a problem with John Wayne. I did find this little nugget out. This might interest you, PB, as a as the purveyor of things we should know. Gone with the Wind.
Mm.
All right, with inflation considered, is still the highest grossing movie of all time. I think I got that from The Wrap. I think maybe
I
it
would believe
was
that.
something else. I can't remember so shout out to The Wrap if that's who
Is
I
the
got that
Wizard of
from.
Oz not far behind?
I don't know. We need to make a list of inflation adjusted gross box office,
Mm.
but I think it's interesting that Gone with the Wind compelled audiences so much that basically it was a movie you had to go watch. And when you consider the subject matter.
So on these
Yeah.
long books, I did the Ralph Ellison estate of books.
Hmm.
And one book that I did was called 3 Days Before the Shooting. It was 63 hours and 6 minutes.
Wow.
Okay.
Let me just
That's
say, I
called The
will
Day
never.
Before the Shooting.
It's
Wait,
called
wait, wait, wait.
the 3 days before the shooting. Now, the
3 days
reason
before
it's
the
so
shooting.
long is because I mean, they released this stuff that this is interesting that he didn't want released, but he's been dead for a long time, so they released it, and in the book there are several chapters repeated with minor, there was a the here and there was a great, and I had to read all of them. That's why it's 63 hours. How many pages is this damn thing? Doesn't say.
Hmm.
And then I read two of his other books, so that was probably at least 100 hours altogether.
Wow.
And to
You get
keep the
paid by the
same.
hour.
You get paid by the hour. You get paid by finished hour. So if it
There you
takes
Mm,
go.
you 3 hours to get a recordable hour, because you make pops, you make
Yep.
mistakes, blah blah blah. You only get paid for the finished hour.
Mm.
Wow.
How you like that?
I don't like it.
And
It's
not
just
not at all.
it's
And
So
more
more
than
that
to be
that
factual
great at
doo-doo
it. That's why you
that
got to
I'm,
be
this
great.
this is the response I get from anyone I tell that story to.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, me and Nick have tried to trudge through the muck and mire of film contracts over the last 10 years, and we are never ever not dumbfounded by the types of leverage moves and uh, self-interested sort of language we see in contracts when dealing with corporations.
One-sidedness.
They want,
One-sidedness.
as Mamet says, they want you to work for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we're literally dealing with a contract like that right now. And I can say that because I didn't sign that contract yet. But once I do, I can't talk about it anymore, apparently.
Right.
So, a little inside baseball
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me, Nick, and Papa Bear. Anyway, Papa Bear, thank you for dropping a things we should know. Nick, let's
Yep.
roll into
My
some
pleasure.
filmmaker Q&A. Why not?
Yeah, let's do it, man. I got a couple, and it's funny. I actually did a couple of filmmaker Q&As to prep for this, and I think I know where I'm going to go now. So I've got a couple of pages. I know which page I'm going to hit, and this filmmaker Q&A is sponsored by our Mastering Film Marketing book, and that's just an ebook that I put out just a couple of weeks ago. Chris and I have had some amazing conversation with guests on this podcast, like this one, and this one is actually inspired by one of our guests. So I won't say who. I just want you all to go out, right? Again, on our YouTube channel, on our beacons, right? You can check it there. And really, if you go to any of our episodes, you'll see our beacons and you'll see the links that we have there. But Mastering Film Marketing is a great book that we put together just to share some marketing ideas for the independent film community. Chris and I have been preaching about marketing since day one when we first got into film, because it is the one thing, out of many things, but it is one significant thing that filmmakers almost refuse to do for themselves, but it is one of the most important things for them to do for themselves, because for indie film, distributors don't do the marketing. Generally speaking, they will tell you that, right? But filmmakers still believe that the distributors will do it for them, or it will just happen by some happy magic. Well, it doesn't. So again, Mastering Film Marketing, we've got that book on our shop, and you can check it out at our beacons.ai, and that's available on our website and available on YouTube. So with that, I'm going to get into some very interesting filmmaker Q&A. So, Dominic, I don't know if you're aware of Anthony Mackie's recent interview that he did. And it seems to be getting a lot of buzz. I mean, I read today, I think at some point, well, Anthony Mackie's being canceled because he said this. And I don't think he's actually being canceled at all. But he's actually speaking truth. He's speaking his truth, which is what seems to get people, quote unquote, canceled, or people want them to be canceled. But he said a couple of things that I just wanted you to comment on. So one of the first things that he said is, I want my kids to know. He's like, we lie to our kids. We tell them all these things. He's like, you could be this, you could be that. And he said, I don't want to lie to my kids. He said, I need them to understand that success is given. It's not earned. And he went on to say, you could be the best at whatever whatever you do. But if someone doesn't pick you, if someone chooses to pick someone else, it's not because of how good you are or how much work you did. It's because someone gave you the opportunity. What do you think about that comment?
I can't argue with that. There's a great deal of logic to it. I think I said something earlier. I said the only thing you're in control of is the quality of your own work. I said, I got people who couldn't carry my makeup kit who'll get a job over me. I mean, really, that has nothing to do. I mean, what's most important is that you're focused on your work. You're doing your best. You're putting your work in. You got your discipline, and you're working at the top of your compass. I always tell people that I write at the highest common denominator, knowing that it's still common. You know what I mean? That's not elitist. That's something we all can handle. But it's, you're not dragging your knuckles.
Yeah.
I think what he says is true. I mean,
Yeah.
depending on how you define success. But the kind of success he's talking about, of course, it's always dependent on somebody else, putting you in a position to be successful, because you were already successful. Oh, yes. So good. Hey, he was already successful. Did you finish writing that thing? Boom. Did you kill it? Boom. Okay. Nobody bought it? Boom. You're still successful. Nobody buys my book. I'm still successful. I don't care.
Right. You've done the thing.
I agree with him.
Yep. At the height of your compass. Okay. The next one is he says he always, when he talks to actors coming up or young actors, he said, there's this question that he asks them. He says, do you want to be a working actor or a celebrity?
Yeah.
And I thought that was great because he goes on to make a comment about the Kardashians, right? He says, you want to be a celebrity, go out to LA and, Kardashian, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be a working actor, that's something else.
Not a bad plan.
You're right. And he went like, well, I mean,
history tells us it's not a bad plan.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's awesome. You hook him up with one of them girls. Well, I don't care what anybody says. They're fine.
Yeah, right.
They're fine. You're gonna tell me those are ugly girls? Come on now.
Right.
But I mean, of course. I mean, I'm old school. I went to conservatories. I trained in London at London Academy of Dramatic Arts. I went to NYU Film School. There was never anything about being a star. It was about, there were no black Shakespeare star actors really doing really good work when I was coming up. It's funny, I was at ACT and when I was in San Francisco, I was kind of killing it as an actor, a young actor, but I wanted to play Hamlet. There were no black Hamlets then. So this white friend of mine, good dude, Dom, brother, man, just, what you ought to do? You ought to just go to Los Angeles, man. You ought to get a series, and you get a series, you can play any part you want. And with my dumb ass, I listened to him. I came to Los Angeles. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get an agent. My girlfriend at the time was a lawyer, so I formed my own company, Los Angeles Performers Theater. We did production of Streamers, which killed. I was named one of the top 10 actors. Still couldn't get a job. I guess the thing I'm most proud of coming into LA is I haven't changed. I'm still that guy that came here, and but yeah, he's right. You want to be a movie star, celebrity. I mean, that's what. But people want to be famous now. That's the currency. It's not even a notion. It's a culture. It's who we are. It's all this and this and this and this. I mean, I'm trying to get somebody to buy my book. So I mean, I love you guys. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate you already. So, but I mean, I'm gonna have to do 50 more of these.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are some people, probably most people, are gonna be so much better at this than me. They're gonna know how to market this. They're gonna know how to fit this in a certain place. They're gonna know how to nuance this, which I don't, and I don't care to. It's very lovely talking to you guys. That's wonderful. And if somebody's watching this and they say, "Hey, this guy's he's not horrible," I'm okay with that. But that goes to the thing about marketing again. Like a film, man. You guys, you do independent films. You're trying to do the best work possible, and then 90% of the stuff you're gonna be doing after that is marketing.
It's true.
We know that now.
It's true. That's right. Exactly. We know it now.
And then you try to find a way.
We didn't have that math when we started.
It doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
That's all. Then you try to find a way to enjoy it. I'm trying to find a way to enjoy being president. And let me just tell you, that takes some acting.
There you go. I like it. All right. I got one more for you.
All right.
So Anthony Mackie again, he says, I've seen 3 generations of actors, right, come and go. And he says, look, man, the reason that they just come and go is because they have no staying power because they're not diversifying their portfolio.
Wow. That's above my pay grade. That's
How
business.
so?
It's business. I don't, I'm not going to comment on that. That's, that you're going to tell me that I'm not successful as I would be because I'm not, investing in certain diversified marketing strategies. It's the same thing to me. It's like, well, that's I'm here to do, and it's sort of idealistic. I want to be a good actor. I want to get off stage and have the black people go, that's a who did that shit, okay?
Yeah.
Feel that shit, right? What you got to say? That's
Right.
what I want. That's I want people to be proud of the work I do. I want to be proud of the work I do, but you can be proud of the work you do and you do shit, because there's people who are horrible and they're proud of the work they do and everybody's like, damn. So I would like to be proud of the work I do, and I would like people to enjoy and at least feel that I didn't, diminish us as a people,
Yeah.
My son and I have this thing. We'll be watching somebody on television or film. And if the moment comes, we just look at each other and go, cooning. And I know you know that moment. You're like, oh, shit.
So I'm going to have to say it because I'm going to say it. And I'm okay with saying it.
Okay.
But that was my feeling about the show Blackish. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, me too.
I couldn't watch it.
Me too.
I must say it. I don't care.
And I love Anthony Anderson.
Listen, I'm gonna say it again. I don't care who comes after me. I said the same thing or something very similar about Black
Tracy
Panther.
Ross. I love her.
No, when Black Panther came out, I was like, that is a white savior movie.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what you talking about, man? It's black people ever. I was like, skirt. Hold on. Who saved the day? It was the white CIA agent who used to fly in the Air Force as a pilot, decided he was going to jump into a Wakandan jet and learn how to fly this thing within seconds and kill the bad guys and open up the thing, and then that saved everybody. I was like, y'all didn't see that? Like, none of y'all saw that. Like, what are y'all talking about? They're like, no, Wakanda forever. I'm like,
that's how I felt about
that's what made it a movie.
What's the movie with Matt Dillon where he became the star? He saved Thandie Newton at the end in the car and all that stuff. Don Cheadle was in it. I hated that movie.
Matt Dillon was in it though.
Matt Dillon, Don Cheadle, Thandie Newton, Ludacris.
Ludacris is in it.
Oh, I mean, that sounds like. Well, PB, look it up. See if we get it.
Look this
yeah,
up.
Look it up. I'm gonna see if I can get it faster than PB.
Oh man, that
I mean, because Ludacris was in a lot. Like Ludacris in Hustle and Flow?
I
think he was. No, well, who was in Hustle and Flow then? Was it 3 6 Mafia?
No, that was.
Wait, you're not talking about Crash, are you?
Crash.
Oh, Crash. Yeah, Crash.
Oh.
Crash won Movie of the Year. Yeah. That's right.
Oh,
Crash is a tough movie. That's a
oh
tough movie to watch.
I cried in that movie when the daughter,
no,
when I thought the
Yeah,
daughter
yeah,
died.
yeah. Wait, yeah, it's a
no,
tough movie to
I
watch,
can't,
But
man.
I, but
I
I, but I,
couldn't,
but I had a young daughter at the time, so I
I
felt
couldn't.
I
I
was
was just
vulnerable.
like, oh no, man, this. No, okay. Anyway, tink.
Yep.
I really like
That,
to work again
but
sometime in Hollywood.
but no, Dom, that is the critique of Crash, though. If outside of the Gwyneth Paltrow win in '99, I think was when she won for the Shakespeare in Love. There isn't a more controversial movie of the year winner than Crash.
Hmm.
I mean, everybody questions that. Everybody's like, that one movie of the year. Here's why it's problematic. Here's what happened here. Here's the other movies it was, up against. I think maybe if I had to pull out one more, maybe Birdman in recent, but people
Oh,
love
just
Birdman. People loved it, but it wasn't, to me, it wasn't better than the Miles Teller movie where he was a drummer. Oh, I'm forgetting the name of it.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh my God, this movie's great. And it wasn't better than Revolutionary Road, which people forget about, with Leo DiCaprio in it. So,
I never judge. I mean,
I forget the girl is in it, but I love her as well.
anybody can win Academy Award. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's just, yeah, that's a different thing. That's a
Yeah,
different.
yeah. Well,
totally.
I will say this though about the Anthony Mackie comment is that I think that there is a part of this, the staying power. So if you take it from a different angle,
Hmm.
the staying power is just staying in the industry or staying as a working something. So
Hmm.
when you are diversifying your portfolio, as I believe you have, right? You're acting, you're writing, you're directing, you're voice acting, like all of these things that you do, to your point, that does keep you relevant, right? It keeps you in it. It keeps
Myself,
you
to myself.
right. Yeah, but that's it. That's what I mean. That's it. To yourself, but you're in it and you're working, right? And I think that's the staying power. That may not be the celebrity power, but that's the staying power of staying in an artistic industry is if one lane isn't working, you got to have some other lanes as well.
Well, I sort of disagree with that in that, if you're only a painter as long as you're painting,
Hmm.
you're only a writer as long as you're writing.
Right.
I mean, that's what it is. You don't stop being an actor because you're not in film or television or famous. You stop being an actor when you're not acting anymore. If I never got a job again, I'm in my apartment and I go to friends' houses and use their big space to rehearse my solo show. And I know I'm improving as an actor because solo show, that's the boss.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it's 90 minutes of you. And I do plays. I don't do stand up. I do plays. And so I'm acting. That doesn't mean I'm going to get a job. That doesn't mean somebody else is going to see me and that doesn't mean I'm going to be on Make It. That just means, I'm doing my due diligence. If you're a mechanic, you know, you're working on cars. When you're not working on cars, you're not a mechanic. You know what I mean? I don't mean that for a moment. I'm just talking about if you're no longer doing that. You did that with music. You're not a musician anymore. You're
Hmm.
not a musician unless you're playing. And
Don't
I
say I'm
agree.
not a soccer player. We might have to fight through the screen.
No,
You know
no,
what
you're bad
I'm
at soccer player.
saying? But yeah, I hear you. I
You
hear you.
know,
But
I'm,
yeah, all right, all right. So let me just drop one more, and then we can move on. But one of the things that I know that PB and I were actually interested in, that I'm going to ask about is there's all these projects that you get involved in, and then you did earlier. You talked about when you moved to LA, and it's difficult to get an agent, or you didn't get an agent at the time.
Yeah.
Do you have an agent now? And what does that take to get
dude,
onto nearly
dude,
200 books, into
dude,
TV shows, into
dude,
movies?
dude.
What is that?
I don't have an agent.
Okay.
I got a manager.
Hmm.
I couldn't get an agent. I haven't been able to get an agent in years. I got an agent not too long ago who they weren't very good.
Mm.
And you know, it's like just because somebody's a doctor doesn't mean they're a talented doctor. It means they went to med school and they got board certified.
Okay.
Just because somebody's an agent doesn't mean they understand anything about actors. And you'll be hard pressed to find one person who disagrees with it. Like the amount of good agents is this much. I mean,
Mm.
casting directors. I remember reading something so long ago when Joe Morton was coming out. He just finished doing Brother from Another Planet, and they do this book. I mean, this magazine, American Theater Magazine. Last thing, they just ask you questions like this, what this, what this. So, what's your dream? He says, to never see a casting director again. Nothing against casting directors, because I do like to work every once in a while, but they don't know my work. They don't bring me in, but they don't know my work. So how can I give them? It's like a reviewer, I feel the same thing about reviewers. Why would you let one person define the thousands of hours you put in on a job?
Right.
I do my stoves. I don't invite reviewers. They get pissed off. They call me an asshole. In my life, if I have a site for my reviews, I have tremendous reviews. I still do not believe in them because that's like you have 15,000 people watching this right now, okay? And one person says what this is about. Does that make any sense at all? I mean, even if they're talented, in their own, there's some really good reviewers in art, but it's one person's opinion. And that doesn't qualify as knowledge to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so.
Okay. So I'm curious sometimes, when I hear that and I think about.
It's so hard for
Let's say
black people to get agents, first of all.
Yeah, well, I was going to say like a Denzel Washington. Did he ever have an agent? Maybe he had a manager. But do you get to a certain point in your career where you don't deal with that anymore?
I don't know any famous person who doesn't have like an agent, a manager, and all those things, because they require those just to navigate just the absolute sheer volume of business and publicity and protection that they need from everything.
Yep.
I'll tell you how racist it is. So I was with an agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did my first episode of Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Okay. And they came back and they wanted to give me 6 episodes, 6 more. And they wanted to offer me $2,000 an episode. My agents were just, oh, it's fantastic. Oh my God, it's so great. I said, no. I said, no, I'm that's not good. She said, what are you talking about, Dom? This is a job, you know. I said, well, that's not enough money. They're underserved. Oh, Dominic, you should take this. I said, no. So I said, she goes, if I pass on it, they're not going to come back. I said, fine. They passed on it. I get a call from the producers. Hello. And what's going on, Dominic? I said, well, $2,000. Come on, guys. Come on. I do this stuff. Come on. Well, what do you need? I said, I want $7,000. I don't want $6,000 and $95. I don't want $4,000. I said, I want $7,000. And I said, that is fair. And that's fair. A couple hours later, they called my agent, $7,000. My agents let me go.
Oh, wow.
Why? Because you overstepped them? Like, what was the reason?
Well, I'm going to say, if I was white and did that, they would have applauded me.
Yeah, we've had conversations about, I think a recent one about
I'm too old to talk bullshit.
When you put yourself in a place of power.
Oh, they don't like that at all.
Exactly.
In any form, even what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. You ain't.
I agree with
you. You don't have to cut your throat like I just did.
We know that.
No. We know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the thing. When you put yourself in a place of power, this is why I told you earlier, and this is funny, all of it comes back. Be happy.
Be happy,
yep.
man.
Be happy.
And give
Be
love.
happy if you
Give love.
can.
Give
That-
love. Give
Yeah.
love.
That's right. That's right. It's the best
And
you can do in the situations that we find ourselves in.
Yep.
It took me years to stop saying light complected when I found out there's no such word as complected. You know that?
Complected.
And then you guys open with that. And I'm like, oh man, you're gonna get me in that again?
Well, you can't. No, you know what? You can't tell me that there's no word that is complected. Just like you can't tell me that big boned is not a word. If the word bootylicious can make it into Webster's dictionary,
Yeah.
yes, it did, and bling bling, then
Mhm.
complected is a word. Complected and big boned are words. Sorry,
I make up
it
words
is
all
what
the
it is.
time.
That's right. They're words. Then you made it up. It
I
exists in
make
the
up
world.
words.
Very good.
James
Yeah.
Joyce, Shakespeare. I mean, they
There-
added words.
There you go. There you
There
go.
it is.
That must be jelly because jam don't shake like that. Big bone did.
That's right.
Come on.
He's lightly complected.
Lightly complected. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, Dom, this has been an absolute pleasure. And Nick, thank you for the filmmaker Q&A. Insightful as always.
Thank you, sir.
And my understanding is that you have a little treat for us. And this is going to be a treat not just for us, but for the audience as well. You are going to read a poem. Now, is this poem from
No, this
no?
is just a one-off.
Okay.
I'm going to have a book of poems sometime because I love poetry. But
we haven't
this is
talked much
kinda-
about it.
It's
But
sorry.
you are a poet. We haven't talked much about it, but you have a love for poetry. You're a poet.
Because it's really hard, poets are very special people, and I'm not that special in that, I mean, I've been, you guys are musicians, so, you write music, and I've written lyrics for people, but you know how to, just the language, what you do in a very short amount of space, of linguistic tonality. You, of course, add music to it, so that's something else. But the nuance of writing poetry or lyrics is very special, I think. You know what I mean? It's not truncated. It's like, how can I be the most efficient while advancing romance or love or anger or fear or just life, man, emotions, and it's a very special area. You write music, man. I'll tell you, and you play piano. Come on, man. You play 4 or 5 chords, and you can, like, panties come off. I'm sorry.
Yep. No.
Look, Chris is like, you're not lying.
That's
Right. Like, he's like, why do you think I played a piano?
Yeah. What is it for then?
Right.
This goes
Like,
back to the
God
old
didn't let me
thing.
sing, because if I could sing like Luther Vandross, I'd have 80
Yep.
kids.
Yeah, countries across the world.
Yeah.
But I have a
All right.
poem for you guys, and
Okay.
there's no title,
Okay.
because titles come last. And anyway, I like this poem, and I'm going to read it. Shall I do it now?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Okay. I met a man with his heart in a bag. At least he told me so. I could not help but ask him why. It seemed illogical. We took a seat among the trees. A garden was nearby. He told me a tale so wet with love, the flowers seemed to rise. The story of a woman he had loved, and that with all his might. And she had responded, he was sure, with that same burning light. He painted a picture of her with words I'd never heard. The language of love, he said, would always be understood. Said she was earth, the light, and mysteries unsolved, a cataclysmic phenomenon, a beauty to behold. Her freedom was all she asked for, but she asked it every day. Her need to bring a certain meaning to why she wanted to stay. They had a life together, a universe of their own, built to withstand the seasons of change and freedom for her to roam. A day would come, they always do, when they would say goodbye, but in the interim, there'd be much which they would want to try. A meal, a mountain, a museum, a fountain, a touch, a kiss, and more, the inexplicable things we share with those whom we adore. The aim of love is to have no aim. It's written in a book whose pages are diaphanous and disappear without a look. Love answers to itself, so no one really knows. The space within the space of love is never really shown. They were versed in the said, the unsaid, the quiet of the room. Music only they could hear throated like a deep bassoon. He spoke with languor on this day, as he had much to say, and though this story was told years ago, his words still penetrate. There were questions, so many questions which had occurred to me. Why he ventured into a sea so black with dangers he had seen. His heart in a bag. It was easy to note love cannot be so kind, to take so much of who he was and never seem to mind. To answer, you must understand that love is merciless. It binds and blinds, it's terror and joy, it's full of deep excess. It's a velvet-covered razor, a broken clock, and more. It's a discordant suite played by a mad musician on an empty ballroom floor. To eat, one must be hungry, and drink requires thirst. But love requires everything. It wants to be there first, the first thing in the morning and well into the night. It's a thing that moves us closer to what I call heaven's light. You say true, my son. My soul was burned, and now there is but ash. A beautiful smoke arises from a present which now is past. I've loved, I've lost, yet I can't despair. I'm not the only one who's blistered from the inside out, who's made love to a loaded gun, who's carried both his first and last, and when he'd nothing left, offered it to his sweetest of dreams, all for her benefit. This may seem crazed, unskilled, unreal, not something you can feel. I see my heart as nothing more than a fragile piece of steel and carry it now wherever I go. The remnants of a time when I could say that I was hers, but she was also mine. It's oftentimes we learn from those who've made it through the worst. We hear their tale, then walk away, spared of that person's curse. It's not our lives, we tell ourselves, quite unconvincingly. But soon, quite soon, I happen to know that this could happen to me. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, guys.
Excellent.
That
Yeah, I had to put myself on mute. Those, I just those, you know, you hit those notes.
really well done, man.
A
Really,
throated
really.
bassoon. That's
Yeah.
That was incredibly impressive.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys.
It
Yeah.
really was. I want wherever that ends up, I will buy it.
Yep.
Wherever you put that,
Immediately.
wherever you publish it, I will buy it. And it's such a privilege to be able to have a podcast where someone with your talent can get on this platform with us and do what you
Oh,
just
brother.
did. That is, I'm so lucky. We are so lucky to have it. Thank you.
Man, you guys, it's funny. You know how this came to be. Nick called me out of the blue. I said, "Hey, who the is this? How'd you get this number? You know what I mean?" And then we had a little conversation, and he was such a cool dude, and he was a brother. Now, brother Papa Bear, you a brother too, man. I love my white folks. I don't have anything about that, but I'm celebrating my black people because But brother, you
I'll
and me are
accept your
golden.
love.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it because it's freely given. But I just thought, so I just told him another time, man. I don't have anything for you right now. I got some stuff going on when it happens, and and he was generous enough to say, "Yeah, man, I got a partner. We do this stuff together. Got Papa Bear and some other dude who didn't show up. Just mess with you, whoever you are. That's my way of saying hello." And so, it's a privilege. It's a privilege, man. You guys get, it's a very generous thing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Chris, I have to mention though that yes, it was like over a year ago that we had that first conversation, and
Thank you for
he
sticking with it,
said,
man.
but listen, no. He
Stuck with it.
said, I will call you back.
Mm.
He said it, and he called me back.
Look
This
at
is a
that.
man of
Look
his
at
word.
that.
This is what I'm saying. Like, he wasn't messing around. Like, again, I'm nobody to him, but we had a good conversation. We made a connection, and he was a man of his word. Like, that's the thing that's important in this, is that he was a man of his word. He called back. We had another good conversation. To his point, he had something, right? Late
Yep.
Rehearsals is coming, guys.
Yep.
Right? It's on pre-order. You can get it now, like Amazon.com.
Please.
Late Rehearsals, right?
Yep.
Make it happen. You want these words that so many of us refuse to believe are not autobiographical. That's what I'm saying. That's how good it is.
Okay with you.
It's so good. Like, Late Rehearsals, get it on pre-order. Get it now. Right? I got mine coming. It is sitting in my Amazon cart. Right? It's purchased. It's
Yeah, I'm gonna get
coming.
it.
I gotta tell everybody, go do it, because the art of this man, right, who was at a storied history in a variety of arts. This is a culmination of several lifetimes of art, and I think it deserves to be read. So yeah, we appreciate you for being a man of your word, for being with us today, and for putting more good art in the world, not because you need people to love you, see you, celebritize you. I just
That's
made
what
that
we
word
do.
up.
like
We
that.
do it
Good
because we
word.
do it.
That's what we
It
do.
was a complected word.
Yeah.
well done, PBA. You made Nick snort, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I
So
that was Dominic. That
me.
wasn't me,
oh,
man.
Dominic.
Just so
Oh,
you
you made
know.
Dom
Yeah,
snort. Perfect.
that's right.
Beautiful. Look
Got
at
him.
you.
Yeah,
All right, I love
got
it.
him.
So
All right,
Dom,
we're gonna
tell
wrap
us.
this thing up with
Well, let me just piggyback on what you said.
do your thing.
You can get The Last Rehearsal on Amazon. Is there anywhere else you can get it?
Yeah, I mean,
Or Late Rehearsal? Sorry,
Late Rehearsals. Yeah, it's
Bookshop.org.
yeah, sorry, bookshop.org. Yeah,
Bookshop.org.
yeah,
Bookshop.org.
anywhere. I understand because in fact, I unfortunately, it's really good to get it on Amazon for writers. I mean, I understand Bezos and
Yep.
all that, blah blah blah. I get it. Unfortunately, for the book thing, it's really good, but you can get it anywhere you want. I've heard that Amazon keeps the best records. That's why for the writers. But
All
anyway,
good.
it's but get it wherever you want. I stopped like soliciting it because there was this boycott until the 31st.
Mhm.
So I just stopped for the last 2.5 weeks,
Mm.
and now I'm starting again. But I mean, I observed the boycott. And,
That's where you get it. I think
and I do a
everybody
bunch of
should do
stuff.
it.
I do a bunch of stuff.
And then where else can people reach out to you, follow you, see your work,
I'm
purchase
on
your work,
Instagram
support you?
I'm at Instagram at Dominic Hoffman 18.
Okay.
You can follow me there. I'm just starting out, so I'll just add content as I go. Like I said, I'm a newbie. I'm a Luddite, and I also have a website, DominicHoffman.com, and you can see a bunch of shit there.
That was a great little monologue on your Instagram page that you gave from New York City
Oh yeah,
the day that you were there for the awards.
Yep.
thanks. That was just in the moment, man.
Yeah, seemed to
It
be.
was, yeah, it was really, really good. And you heard it from the man himself. Go check him out at DominicHoffman.com, or you can find him on Instagram at Dominic18. So at Dominic18 on
Dominic
Instagram.
Hoffman
And
18.
no, is it Dominic Hoffman 18 or Dominic
Yes,
18?
Dominic Hoffman 18.
Okay, I'm sorry. My apologies. Dominic Hoffman 18. Just Kate, you can bleep what I just said before. Dominic Hoffman 18 on Instagram. Go
Thank
make
you, man.
go follow go follow him. He's just getting started. Be one of those folks that are early supporters. And we will end this podcast the way we end every podcast, Dominic. What does it mean to make it?
To make it. I don't know, man. I think just being comfortable with the nuances of life allows you to make it. Making it is always in the present tense, you know. It's being, appreciating where you are. And if you're looking at it as a profession, I would just say making it is being in love with the discipline of whatever it is you're doing. Because no matter what it is, it takes discipline. And what elevates those above others or to the height that you want to reach is that you're in concert with the discipline. You know, it's not painful. It's what you do. That's about the best I can do on that one.
That's a beautiful answer, and it's perfectly you. It reminds me of some of the other things that were frankly said less poetically by Gail Ann Hurd, who produced The Terminator and Aliens, but she kind of echoed the same thing, and it really is true. I'm going to write that down later because I want to. It's not that men need to be told; it's that we need to be reminded. So I want to look back at that over and over and over again when I seem to slip out of that discipline. I think everybody that's listening or watching should do the same. And with that, Dominic, we appreciate you so much. This has been an incredible conversation. And for those out there, if you enjoyed what we're doing here, there's different ways you can support us, and they're all really, really simple. First and foremost, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. It makes a huge difference. If you're listening to the podcast, so maybe you're on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, etc., wherever you're listening to it around the world in this global audience, then make sure you rate us 5 stars and leave a review. It takes 30 seconds and it makes a huge difference with discoverability. Now, if you're listening, maybe you cross over to YouTube, right? If you're watching, maybe you cross over to audio. So we'd like there to be, we know they're different audiences, but we'd like there to be some symbiosis between the two, some synergy between those two audiences. But either way is fine. However you're supporting us, we really, really appreciate it. If you want to find out more about us, you can do that at themakeit.podcast.com or on our sort of parent company site, bonsai.film, and you can learn everything you want to learn about the Make It podcast there. If you want to support us in your daily life, we talked about printed t-shirts today. We did. Papa Bear showed off his, I showed off mine. It's not an accident. Well, maybe it's a little accident. We didn't plan it. It's scripted. But the thing is, we wear it on our chest. You should wear it on yours too. Wear your filmmaking journey, wear your artistic journey, wherever you go. You can do that at cottonbureau.com. We have an incredible partnership with them. They reject 90% of all designs. Ours is in their shop. So if you go to Cotton Bureau and search for the Make It podcast, our shop will come right up. We have some incredibly soft t-shirts as the weather starts to get warmer. We still have those incredibly popular hoodies and crew neck t-shirts and even some really dope hats that you can get from Cotton Bureau. So cottonbureau.com and search for the Make It podcast and our shop will come right up. If you want to reach out to Nick, you can email him at nick@bonsai.film. If you want to reach out to me, you can find me on X at Flame in Your Heart, or you can just search for Chris Barkley and I'll come right up. We answer 100% of all DMs. You can follow us on all social media platforms at _Make It Podcast. Again, you can DM us there, follow us there. We respond to 100% of those things. We respond to all the comments on YouTube. So we're super engaged with you if you're super engaged with us. And I think, Nick, do I have anything else? I think that's all we have to say.
That's a lot.
And that was a lot. I think it was a lot.
So I think there's, you know what I'm saying, Chris. You said so much. I need some water. My mouth is a little dry.
A little dry. There's so many things we're doing. It's always hard to remember. Did I say everything? Go to because we already mentioned Beacons. That we already mentioned Beacons AI, Make It podcast. We already mentioned Mastering Marketing. Yep. We have all the films that were nominated for Best Film. Their screenplays, we bundled them up for you. Easy package. Download one digital thing. It's free. Download it. You'll have the 10 scripts that were nominated for Best Film this past year, and you can read them. And you'll get a sense of what a good screenplay looks like, what kind of screenplays investors are investing in, studios are investing in. and improve your writing game. So both help, because you cannot make a movie and not market it.
Right.
You've been saying it since day one. You cannot do it. So those are at our Beacon shop as well. So we appreciate all the love, all the support. And with that, Nick, can you please leave us with the credo?
Of course, I can't say it's my favorite part of the show, but I will say that it's one of my favorite parts of the show because it is very important for people to understand why we do what we do and who we are, right? So, like a screen printed shirt, right, with the words across my chest, I say to our filmmaking friends, family, and fans, and of course, our followers out there, be better, be creative, be engaged.
And thank you for listening. Nick, Dominic, talk to you soon.
Be well.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you so much, guys.
This is great.
Love it. PB, love you. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
See you soon, Intern Sam.
Yeah, buddy.
Peace.